Say hello.
Hello.
All right, I'm going to start recording. All right, so we're just going to dig in. Welcome, everyone, to the Single Lady Lifestyle Podcast. This is Season 2, Episode 2, and I kind of continued the healing journey with this episode. Episode 1 was Stephanie Barton doing my reading, which hopefully everyone enjoyed. Today, I have Shannon, and I always mess up your last name. Do you want the whole hyphen, the Fenton Coster? Is it just Shannon? Do you care?
I don't care. Okay. I'm not going to be like Madonna these days with just one name.
Oh, I love that. I love everything about that. Shannon she's first and foremost, she's a beautiful friend of mine and one that I couldn't journey through life without. And I have found her at the perfect moment, I think. Yes. I think we've been friends now for a year and a half or
almost 2 years. Yeah. I think it's been 2.
She is my Reiki lady. We're going to talk about Reiki. We're going to talk about emotion code. Just for fun, I'll share. She also does my waxing. So she's also waxed my butthole. So the joke is that she literally knows every part of me, right? Like I just
inside and outside.
Inside and outside. So I kind of wanted to start though, like you and I, we took a class on Saturday at Pino's Palette.
Yes.
In Leawood. And Stephanie was there as kind of like the part where when we had breaks, she would pop in and kind of give us reading. And that was your first experience with her. What did you think?
It was mind-blowing. Right? I mean, just mind-blowing. It was honestly, I'd had a reading probably 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Probably at a point in my life where nothing was really too amplified, or
when you're 20s, it's a
I didn't really know what
right?
she was talking about, Yeah. Stephanie is a totally different. She's probably one of the trusted people I think that you could ever get. She's like a little angel.
Yeah.
It was mind-blowing. I'm still like reeling over what she told us.
Still processing.
Yeah.
Which is funny. So because I bring her up because I want you to say hello to everybody, but I'm bringing her up because she literally walked over to me and she said a couple of things. And I was like, well, shit, I'm really glad, like, Shannon's sitting here. Because these two are going to work really well together. And then, of course, we had Jamie, our other friend, who's also, she's a massage therapist and does a lot of healing as well. So, anyway, okay, welcome, Shannon. I'm so happy you're here.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. This is so fun.
It is fun, right?
Yes.
So we tell everybody about you just a little bit.
Yeah, so I started on my journey years ago becoming an esthetician and a makeup artist, and I've been doing that around Kansas City for a long time. And, I ventured into that because I love helping people. Not only with the beauty part kind of comes secondary, but I love being entrenched with people's souls and hearts and then just like really expanding their light, right? And really bringing my light into their life as well. I hope that every person that walks through my door leaves a little bit better, and I've shined the light in their life. So about 9 years ago, I ventured into some healing work through my own kind of dark night of the soul, as we call it in the energetic world.
What dark
night? The dark night of the soul.
Oh.
It's kind of where that darkness is hovering over your life. Like things are happening. You've kind of got some suffering going on. And I lost my father then and was just kind of going through some stuff in my family life. And so a friend of mine had introduced me to Reiki. Okay. And she's like, I don't even know what to tell you that this gal does, but you need to go. And quite frankly, it was life-changing for me. Yes. So the minute I did it, it was eye-opening and groundbreaking in my life. And so I thought, I'm a full-throttle kind of gal. I jumped right in. I probably had 4 or 5 sessions with my Reiki master, and then I decided to get into Reiki and learn it myself. So awesome. I thought, this is an amazing intertwinement with my business, right? It's the beauty from within, which is my business name, right?
Yeah. A nice little plug.
Yes, exactly. I like a side note into that.
I like that.
So it's really, Reiki is life force energy. It is a Japanese name, and that's really what it is. It's energy, healing, and, you can get pretty scientific if it's something that kind of scares you or a lot of people do not know about this. It's been around a very, very long time.
Oh, yeah.
But it's just energetics, right?
Well, we're all made of energy. You and I have had that conversation so many times. Like we are, and that's fact. That's science.
Yes, it's science. Yes, exactly. There's no going against that. So I brought it into my world. I've incorporated it into my facials, and then just of course do Reiki on people when they come in, and it's clothing on, the one service I don't ask you to take your clothes off.
Yeah. No butthole needed.
No. You can leave your pants on for this one.
Legs are not over the head.
No hot wax.
No. But you will feel vulnerable.
Yes.
Right? It's a whole different level of openness.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's really, I just do hands-on and off healing through the 7 chakras of your body. So that's something you can kind of look up and unfold for yourself.
Well, maybe we'll have you back and talk about chakra stuff.
Yeah, chakra.
Because I bet that gets into the Reiki too, though.
It is. It's layers. It's layers of energy healing. And then Reiki I call my gateway drug because it launched me into the emotion code.
Yeah.
And very organically I found the emotion code. I've become an emotion code practitioner, and that's a whole nother level. So we'll kind of discuss that when we do your stuff.
So the whole idea today, everyone listening, is Shannon has done, and I'm sorry, hold on, my chair is squeaky. So if you guys can hear that, I'm super sorry. I'm not changing out chairs. I'm comfortable. But okay, so Shannon is and has, I think I was very diligent about it, doing that Reiki every quarter. Mm-hmm. Emotion code, I think we were just talking, I really need to get that like on a monthly deal.
It's great.
But Shannon has done these 2, I guess, healing modalities on me, and we're going to talk about it. And I don't know the results, like she hasn't really shared what happened, but this kind of pulls us back to the Stephanie moment. So when we were in our class on Saturday, Stephanie walked over, and it was Shannon and myself and Jamie sitting at the table. Gosh, I can't even remember. Were there I think there were other people, but we just really kind of had our own thing. Yeah, we were
kind of in our own little zone. Honestly, we were kind of the 3 amigos together over there.
We really were. And Stephanie comes to me first, and she's like, "We have to talk about your kidneys." And I'm like, "What?" And she goes, "But first, Gabriel is here." And she kind of gave me, and then she came back to the kidneys. And I said, "Well, thank God my Reiki lady is sitting right here. Make a note. We have to work on kidneys." And so you did. So,
I did. I'm like, check. I've got to work on that this weekend.
So we got to work on. So I guess I'm going to kind of let you just do what you would normally do in a reading. Like, here's what I found here, and we'll just talk about it. I'm
Absolutely,
excited.
Yeah.
Where are you starting, Reiki or
so?
Emotion code?
I'm going to go emotion code, and then I'll kind of move into your Reiki notes. So I did Reiki on you last week.
I guess
it was. Yeah. So last week, and then kind of per Stephanie telling us that I really just wanted to work solely on your kidneys. So kidneys are, well, let me kind of explain just to everybody listening. The emotion code chart, we have 60 different emotions on here. And every emotion lies in a meridian of the body. So if people are familiar with acupuncture, it's the same line of work, right? So you're moving and removing in the same areas as if you were doing acupuncture. So everything has got a place. So in the kidneys and the bladder are tied together. That's going to be your, like, a lot of fear-based energies, dread. You might be blaming somebody in your life or blaming yourself. You hold those emotions there. Conflict, creative insecurity, like emotionally feeling unsupported. So there's a lot of big emotions in each category. So that's the kidney bladder region that we were kind of working on with you. So I just specifically asked a question for you, and here's what we got.
Okay, and you're releasing energy. That's the whole point.
Yes, I'm releasing
energy. Yeah.
These are trapped emotions that have come into your body, whether they're in your lifetime, they can be absorbed from people in your life, or they can be inherited, which I think a lot of people forget that we are made up of DNA from so many ancestors before us. So we're carrying the weight of all these ancestors, and we are the way we are because of our parents' lineage. So we go back, and the beauty of it is, and I always tell people this, and this is kind of the mind blower. When I do this for you, now you did not have, actually, I take that back, you did have an inherited one. It is energy. So energy does not die. Our vessels as a body die, but our energy does not. So clearing it out for you clears out for anybody before you, which is, if it's an inherited emotion, if you had children, it would clear out for them. So vibrationally, the line never dies. So you're clearing from, past, present, everybody, which is amazing. It's like a gift that you're giving people even on the other side.
Well, that's mind-blowing too. I mean, it's extremely logical.
It really is. Like, if you really stop and think about it, it totally is. So I'll just kind of dive in. Okay. So I do a couple different modalities. I mean, I think once you get very versed in these things, you kind of know how to mix and melt them together. So I'm going to read you the trapped emotions that we released for your kidneys. And then there's another modality that I use that's kind of about frequency work, and it gives you some statements of healing that support this energetic release. Okay. So we released wishy-washy.
That one always makes me laugh.
I know, me too. Like some of these, and like this and like peeved, they just make me laugh. I'm like, hee hee. So wishy-washy was inherited from your father. Yeah. So it actually was not going back any other directions but him. So it was just literally inherited from him. So it was something that he picked up in his lifetime and that you have picked up as well. So it just kind of, it came in his lifetime. So we released that. Again, we released it for your father as well. Creative insecurity, which is funny because we kind of got a little bit of that from Stephanie that came through on Saturday. Yeah. So this was creative insecurity at your age 34. And I always tell clients when I work on them, the age can be an age before or after the one that I actually send you. So the subconscious mind, really is holding this at that certain age frame. So you could have been on the cusp of a birthday. If you're like, well, at 33 that happened, but I found 34. You give it a little grace.
Got it.
So 34. I don't know if you want to expand on any of these on here, but I'll let you roll however you want.
Okay.
So that's the thing with sessions. Either people can talk about it, or they go, okay, yep, I get it, and I don't need to speak about it.
Yeah.
And it's all released. This is what the beauty of like not traditional therapy, because you don't have to rehash it. I've already done the work for you.
I think about 33, 34. Yeah, I'll share that.
Yeah,
in a minute.
yeah.
I know what that's about.
Sounds good. So unsupported came at your 9-year-old self. Stubbornness came at 19.
Yeah.
And conflict was at 27.
Oh. There's been a lot at 27 before.
Yes. Yeah. And it's funny because as you deep dive more into these emotion codes, again, one is not going to fix everything, right? You need multiple sessions of these. We have lots of layering. We could do this till the end of our lives.
Right.
And clearly now beyond if someone wants to gift us that in their next life.
That's true.
So you had, let's see. So 5 were released. And generally, people were released anywhere from 3. I've had as many as 13.
Yeah.
So it depends on what your body is really needing at the time. So just because you release just 3, your body could be very overwhelmed with that. So these are big emotions that your body's needing to process. So
you always ask, right? You're like, is there more?
I do, yes.
The body will shut down.
It will shut down. So actually, I was going to continue going, and it was like, nope, you're done. And I'm like, okay. So it was all you needed for that for just your kidneys, right? Okay. So and I always tell my clients, I expand. If you say I'm having kidney issues, but I also want to work on my control issues, like we can group these into the same session.
Love that. So
sometimes when you add more, you're going to get more emotions coming out of that.
Well, and I don't ever really set you up with detail.
No.
Like I'm just like, hey, I need an emotion code. And we are so close now where you can tap in remotely and you just, and there have been times where I have felt it. And I have texted you and been like, did you? And you're like, yeah, I did that like an hour ago. And it's a very weird, strange, feeling that you can't explain. It's not painful. It's more calming.
It's like lift. And it's freedom. You have a processing. You feel a little lighter.
Yeah.
And everybody processes differently. So I've had some real processors actually. Yeah. People are like, so I, was in the bathroom all day the next day.
Explosive diarrhea.
Yeah, like for real. Like one lady called me and she's like, can you talk? I go, actually, I can't talk this morning. And I think it was an amazing thing that we couldn't talk. She's like, yeah, I just had to process all day. And then it was like we talked the next day and she was fine. She's like, your body purges one way or another, right? Which I don't want to scare anybody. That's like been only a couple of people.
Well, I would say most of the time.
It's heavy processing.
Most of the time it's it's an exhale feeling.
Yes.
The body is literally sort of like, if you're somebody whose shoulders, because I know when I get super tense, those shoulders hit the ears, right?
Oh, completely.
I always feel just like I've exhaled.
Yep.
And it's not an intentional exhale. So I think that's the best way to explain it is the body just sort of, whew.
Yeah. It's like, wow, thank you.
Yeah, I needed that. And then the mind sort of catches up a little bit later.
It does. And I always tell people it's kind of a slow process of knowing that something worked, because it's like if you have a trigger normally with somebody or something, like a week or two later, you're like, oh my gosh, that didn't even bother me this time. You know, like it would.
I will tell you, you know, I have to take my crazy ex-husband back to court.
Yes.
Stupid student loan this guy just won't handle. I'll tell the universe he's had 10 years to handle this shit and he hasn't. So I had to step in and handle some things and I think before I met you, this would have really, I would have really been on the edge. And now I'm kind of like, deal with it. Like it's going to be fine. I mean, it's hard to explain, but once you have experienced it, you recognize how beneficial.
Yes.
Right?
It's mind-blowing. Yeah. It is absolutely mind-blowing.
Well, the kidney thing, like I told you when I saw it, when you walked in today, I was like, did you work on my kidneys last night? Because I had cloudy pee. And you're like, yes.
Yep.
I'm doing.
That's probably your body going, I'm letting it out. I'm letting it out. Go on. Anyway. It's just mind-blowing. So, do you want me to read the frequencies for you as well?
Yeah. So, did you only do emotion, like kidney work on the emotion code?
I did.
Time? Okay.
Yes. Because honestly, this is the first time in like 2 years I've ever done something specific. I call your releases organic.
Yeah.
So Allison never tells me what she wants.
I don't.
She just says, I think I need this, and we see where her body wants to go. A lot of other clients will say, hey, I've got specifics for you. Here's my laundry list. And I always check to see what the body wants to release. It might not be all 15 things you send me, because your body's like, no, we're not working on that until next time. So it's like it knows what you need at the moment, which is the greatest thing.
Got it. Okay.
So I'll read a few notes here. So this little book kind of goes through practices of like if it's archangels, if it's Bach flower medicines, if it's homeopathy. I'm not going to read all of those I'm just going to give you the statements.
Okay.
So one of the statements was, I am ready to open up again to other people, to communicate, to share, and to listen.
Good Lord. Okay.
I know.
That's deep.
And these are all going to start connecting, because I didn't even reread these. I didn't read these until just now, actually. The next one was, I accept other people as they are. I no longer force my will and view of the world upon others.
Okay.
So that's a deep one.
That's a big one.
It's a big one. We're big personalities, Allison, and sometimes we sometimes do that.
Sagittarius girls. My God.
Yes, we are Sag sisters for life. It's like amazing.
Yes.
This is where my work gets validated, because these are all organic. Like, I mean, these just come up, and so I'm reading your Reiki notes as I'm reading this, and I'm like, oh, funny. So the color orange came up for you, and this all ties in with your creative insecurity. So this is bringing up sensuality, vitality, and a zest for life. I allow for enthusiasm, lively harmony, and joy again. And funny, in your notes for Reiki last week, it says focus on the color orange.
Okay, that's wild.
Okay, I'm telling you, spirit just does its funky business, and I love it.
Thank you, universe.
I mean, this is where me as a practitioner, I'm like, this is not stuff I'm pulling out myself. I ask, truly, I pray before every single person's, and I'm like, this is not me. This is, something way bigger.
This is way bigger.
So it just validates everything. I love it. Makes me just geek out on this even more than I already do. I did too. I'm like, it's crazy.
Then we both know what Stephanie said to me on Saturday, so I'm going to tie that in with you here in a minute.
Completely.
Yeah.
The next thing was dandelion root, which I love. This is all about releasing your emotions, thoughts, and wishes accumulated in the liver, clearing anger and rage, and cleansing the blood. So we all need to clear our livers out.
Yeah, we do.
For sure. So that was beautiful to coincide with your kidneys as well.
Which is funny, because I did get pretty angry last week. It wasn't at a client, but I was in a consulting meeting with a client and who we were talking to. It was just the most ridiculous scenario.
Right.
And I don't get angry.
Yeah.
But I got angry.
Yeah.
And I didn't know how to process it. Like, I had to get on the tread. Like, it was, so that's wild.
It is. It's like, it's just, your body's going, this does not feel good.
And it didn't. I kept thinking it's okay to be, that day I was like, it's okay to be angry at this. This is not, but it's still harder. Mm-hmm. It's still very challenging to process, especially when you've never been taught how to process emotion.
Exactly.
So,
and then if you don't know how to process it, what do? You stuff it.
Yeah.
And then it stuffs in these meridians, which weaken the body system. That's why we get sick, because we don't deal, and especially as Americans,
oh gosh,
we're just putting a pill on top of it. We're not releasing them. We're just, it's creating horrific things.
There's no root cause or prevention.
No,
right?
no.
We're extremely reactive in
if
Western
we
medicine.
all did this, we wouldn't be probably on medicine, which is,
I agree.
One of the things.
Yeah. I mean, when I talk at the end, I will share why this has been so substantial for me. Kind of little teaser there for everybody.
Yeah, I love it.
Okay, so I need to clean my liver, so I need to tell my acupuncturist that tomorrow.
Yes, your liver and your kidneys need to be focused, because this is the beginning work, right? This isn't going to be the end all be all, but this is beginning work.
Okay.
So gold comes to mind here. I am ready to align my inner and outer values without accepting any compromise, so that I can experience the bright side of life, and then I can give up all control games.
Oh, I got chills again.
Oh, exactly.
That's a big one.
It's always so fun to be like, you can't control these things, and you're like, but I can.
I'm gonna need like little pictures of that stuff, like little
I know.
before you leave. Too.
Yeah,
okay,
for sure.
On my phone.
For sure.
Okay.
So I'll kind of go over the Reiki notes, and then we'll kind of tie in what you want to with what Stephanie said too. So when I do Reiki, I do it in the office, and I also do all of these modalities distantly. So I can work on anybody in the world at any time. So same thing, if she's like, I need Reiki, I just go into my headspace and kind of get symbols and signs of what you need. As well as, and that is secondary to Reiki. I just want to tell people that Reiki is just energy healing with your hands. I know I've been gifted with some channeling gifts, and so I actually will get things like I'm coming out with today. So I'll get words of wisdom or advice or things like that I just write into my notes. So along with the healing I send her, I also get these. So
and there are times I do, because you'll always say, do you want to come in for Reiki or do you want me to do it?
Right.
And we'll do 50-50. I think I'm on the table twice a year.
Yeah.
Maybe sometimes 3 times a year.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, but the emotion code, I think for the most part, I think I've only done one session with you in person.
Yes. Yeah. Emotion code is really great and easy because it fits into everybody's schedule, that I can just do it in my time and then send you the report. And then we usually set up about a 20-30 minute convo and help explain it to people. And sometimes you are like so good now, you can pretty much read into what you're doing.
It sounds too good to be true.
I know.
And so most, there's that saying, if it's too good to be true, it is. But that is not the case here.
It's not the case. And Dr. Bradley Nelson, who actually created the Emotion Code, it is strictly muscle testing. There are doctors all over the world that do muscle testing. There's different practitioners all over the world that do that. He's now retired, but he was a chiropractor and just started seeing that all of his patients had these connecting disorders, when fibromyalgia came out and chronic fatigue. I mean, sorry, this might sound offensive, but I'm on Single Lady Life, so I don't really think that's probably going to be...
And you guys know how it rolls here. Yeah. You can't be offended and you can't judge.
Yeah, but, those are kind of bullshit created terms through doctors because they don't know what your body's dealing with. Yeah. It's chronic stress, chronic inflammation, and chronic things that we're not facing emotionally as a society that they had to slap a name on.
Absolutely. Well, so that fibromyalgia, you're going to piggyback on that.
Yeah.
On my mother's side, my grandmother has it. I have a distant cousin who had, almost all the females have it. Mm-hmm. I agree with you 1,000% because we learned that celiac also comes from my mother's side, which is an autoimmune disease.
Yes.
I would almost guarantee you if that older generation went and took the time to test, they would find that there's something else around that. My grandmother was on my mother's side. This was a few years ago. She had put herself in hospice because... And nobody could quite figure out why. And she had so much pain she couldn't walk, she couldn't function. And I called to talk to her, and I was like, well, what are you doing? And she's like, I'm eating a hot dog. I'm like, well, that's not the best idea.
Oh, Grandma.
I get it, but okay. You can't function and move, so let's put some more processed crap in your body.
And it's just inflammation, and inflammation is due to all the stressors of your body, right?
And she is a woman who lived a stressful life. Right. Like old school stress, married at 14, first kid at 15, which was my mom.
Holy moly.
Her youngest daughter was kind of a hot mess, and so that would have been my aunt, and she... my grandmother would never come out and say it was an overdose. They always said it was like a, what's that, like whatever, something that in your leg, like a blood, whatever.
Oh, a blood clot or something.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that was not cause of death. Cause of death was like overdose. So this woman had plenty of inflammation and stress. And you have to admit that you have that. I mean, we all have stress in our life.
Oh.
Somebody tells me they're not stressed, they are full of shit.
Totally. And that's, I mean, you can't live in society today and not be stressed out. I mean,
You cannot.
yeah,
you can't live out of society today and be stressed
No,
out.
exactly, because that's stressful too.
Right.
It's like it's all so hard. And our body, we're not supposed to be going at this pace. We're not supposed to living this life. And
We're not.
So, and then throw on all the other things. It's like, okay, we need a lot of help. And pills are not the answer.
And so, so I didn't mean to like go on my tangent
but it's
there,
so true.
But that is, that inflammation, that's been the game changer for me.
Yeah.
I know it has. Like I can go back to when the celiac diagnosis came in. I started Reiki, I started emotion code, I started I can give you the timeline and know the difference.
So I don't even know why I haven't thought about this for the 2 years of friendship that we've had.
Yeah.
We need to do body code for your celiac.
Yeah, we do.
Because body code is another amazing tool from Dr. Nelson. And it's a deeper dive into the physical, it'll actually direct you. It'll direct you to so many different things. If it's, literally, like it's an encyclopedia of health, basically. And then it'll also directly, okay, maybe you just need to release trapped emotions for that, So it's another deep dive. We'll have to do another
we'll have to
session around
that. To be
that.
continued on body code because I have the genes. I have the celiac genes.
Yes.
Because I did the DNA testing. And so I'll be fascinated how that works with that. But okay, back to
I know. I never thought about that until now.
Okay, over here.
I know. We're going to sidebar that.
Right.
Okay, so the Reiki notes, the bat came in for you. So everything, I always say this. I'm like,
the back, like my lower back?
Bat, B-A-T, like a bat, like flying around.
Oh, like a vampire bat.
Like a vampire bat.
Okay.
Goes with your glowing skin.
So many animals in my Reiki sessions.
Well, I know.
Alligators and
Yeah, and you always kind of get some fun ones too. It's not just
sloth.
like a bear. Yeah, the sloth came in.
Yeah.
Wow. So, I always say, like, truly God, source, however you relate, created fruits and vegetables and all the things on our planet for a specific reason. Same with all the animals, all the things. Everything, plants have medicine, animals have medicine, crystals have medicine. Everything on this earth has a medicinal property to it.
It does.
And if we would just get smart to use those tools, we wouldn't again be shoving pills down our throat.
So you don't make a lot of money doing that, though.
No, you don't. Yeah. I'm like, if I just said, hey, Batman medicine is helping you, I think the world would be like, what? But so it's
Burned
a really,
it's
right.
Back in the day.
I probably was in another life, not gonna lie. So the bat came in, and I'm not gonna read the whole thing here, but the bat is really about rebirthing.
Oh, that makes sense.
Which I think is totally your life right now. We're in a season too, just energetically, of everything is kind of dying off that's not supposed to be here, physically and energetically, right?
Well, we're in eclipse.
We just finished a ginormous shitstorm of a weekend, which I'm going to just be like, okay, yes, please. But it's rebirthing. Yeah. It's rebirthing. So I'm just going to read a few lines of this. It says, the Spirit has come to remind you that this rebirth is a miraculous one, for the very best elements of what you have had to give up in the death of the old are still present in this new amazing life forming now. Okay. So it's just, again, this goes real deep. It's a couple pages.
You'll send it to me.
I will send all this to you. Yes. I always send all my clients all the notes.
I keep them all. Like your
and you do.
Messages
I never delete our text messages. I love it. So then there's always a protection message. So there's a kind of a message of the bat, and then there's a protection message sometimes. So you kind of think of the other side of this energy too. So the question is, what are you refusing to let die? Bat Spirit is gently nudging you to let go of your need to cling to the familiar story that has already run its course. A new story is poised to be born. So in the healing process, we have to look at our shadows, right? And a lot of times it's very hard for us to do that, but our shadows are the biggest gifts of our lives, really, that kind of take us into a new journey of the light, right? So I just thought that was really great. There's lots more to this, but the bat energy was really great. Patience also came up for you. Not a ton of expanding, but I do think patience is in the process, right? So where you get frustrated. I mean, you and I are creatives, and we're always like, we want it now. And we know how hard it is to make it happen overnight, right? So we do have to have some patience. I don't think Sagittarians are very good patient
I was
people.
getting ready to tell you that. I was like, we're in the wrong sign.
We're in the wrong sign at all. I mean, like, I'm like, ooh, yeah, I'm like fire. I just want to jump into the next thing.
We do.
And we get bored.
Easily.
Yeah, I mean, for sure.
Yeah, easily.
So this was interesting. So you probably should expand on this if you wish. It was saying don't emphasize your weaknesses. So I think that just speaks to our inner voices sometimes.
Okay.
It also is telling you to just be your authentic self, which I think you really do a great job of that, just knowing you as my friend. But also our shadows are some insecurities and the things that we hold, right? Yeah. So it's just kind of scary, which... we were just chatting about this.
Well, and it's super easy to regress. Like, I am reading the Shannon Nichols book.
Oh, yeah.
And I really am digging her, some of her stuff. And she talks about how it is, as you grow, you do regress.
Right.
That's part of the process, right? And then when you regress, you recognize.
Yes.
And then the more growth happens. So it's this huge cyclical thing.
Kind of the reflection. You're reflecting back,
Yeah. So I think now, more than ever, I've been my authentic self. I think I had a hard winter.
This winter was hard.
I'm not somebody who deals well with winter in general.
That came up for you.
Okay, well, go ahead. So I feel like I just need a pool and a palm tree in January.
Are moving right into that because it was very interesting. The question, because questions and statements come up through the process, have you been isolating yourself to avoid confrontation or conflicts? Which it's interesting because conflicts have come up in the last 6 months. And I just know you and your heart and your spirit and how we roll as Sagittarians. Yeah. It's been a trial. Yeah. And I mean, I have to sit here right next to you and say, my kids even are like, Mom, you're like, you don't even want to go out and say hi to people. And I'm like,
I don't.
I'm kind of over the people of the world right now.
If you can't act right, I don't have time for you.
That sounds really bad of me being a healer, but we have feelings.
We do. You do. I love that. Healers have feelings too.
I am authentic in saying that everything is perfect and right and, rainbows and unicorns in my world. But I just knowing you and knowing how both of us, I think, had a little bit of a hard winter, I thought that was a really interesting one that came through for you because I think that's kind of been your story for a minute. But again, we're going into spring and we're rebirthing, and you're doing a very good job of that.
I have isolated, probably more this winter than I have since I think probably 2017 and 18 would have been when I did this. And it always coincides when I have some new brilliant idea with work.
Yes.
Because I'm like, all right, fuck everybody. I got to
go to work.
I got to do this shit. And I will not go see friends and I will not go out to, and the celiac thing has been hard for me. It's really hard to eat out in the Midwest if you have any sort of food allergy because they just don't get it. And so it's just easier to stay home. I can go days, and I'm an introvert at heart.
Right.
I can go days without talking to anybody.
Right.
Like when we had that crazy cold weather around Christmas.
Oh, yeah.
I think it was a week, and I was like, I only talked to the dog. I haven't talked to another human being in like a week. That's probably not a good thing.
But it was okay.
It felt good.
I mean, when you're around Sash, she's like the queen. So she's
kind of a big deal,
she can look at you and she's speaking.
She is kind of a big deal.
But that was, I think, a really, like, when that hit, I was like, oh, wow, that's kind of coming up. So again, I think looking at the bat medicine a little bit more, when I send you your notes, you're going to have some fill in the spots with that. And then the focus on the color orange. So going back into chakras, each chakra has a color, and it's basically like the colors of the rainbow. Yeah. And so orange represents our solar plexus, and that is our power, right? I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. That's not. I clearly need some coffee at this point. That is our sacral. That's our sacral. Yes. So that is representing creative insecurity, girlfriend. Your femininity. Yeah. The sexuality on like the masculine and feminine divide.
Oh, we've talked about that so many times. Yes. I have a hard time balancing. I will go way over here. I'll go way over here when I have to be an asshole. And I just can't get in the middle. Yeah.
And you think, and this goes back to Stephanie's reading with you, there was creative energy around fertility, which does not mean you're here to have a baby, right?
That was the first thing I said. I was like,
nobody's getting pregnant here, girl. Okay, but think about how that ties into your bat medicine of you're rebirthing you.
Yeah.
You don't need to birth a child. It's the energetics that are in your sacral's your womb. That's where your energy for life is. Right. And so it's, yes, human life, but it's also life of and a lot of people are stagnant in the sacral.
Interesting.
And that's, you really think that's where people gain weight.
Oh, it's exactly, right? I put on weight there. Like, I've got an extra 10 coming out of the winter, and that's all right there.
Yes.
I'm like, what the hell?
Because we got to let it go. We got to let it go.
Letting it go, babe. Yeah. You gotta go. Mama needs to fit into her jeans.
Yeah, and then like I was saying before, yellow is your solar plexus, which is right above that, kind of like underneath your bra line.
Yeah.
That's yellow. That's your power. That's your power source. So again, where do we lose our power, right? And where do we gain the weight? So it's really that underneath the breastbone to going down to the root chakra, which is low back.
Yeah.
That's where we carry, as Americans, male or female, all of our weight. I call it the energetic junk drawer.
Well, and Stephanie had said, she goes, kidneys, lower back, lumbar. Yes. She's like, you're carrying, she immediately knew.
Yeah.
She's like, you're carrying this. And I was like, God, my lower back's been killing me. I've just been blaming my trainer.
Yeah, no.
it's this other stuff.
It's the other stuff.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's just wild.
Okay.
And as people learn about this, it's such a layering. Everything. You go to the chiropractor and they tell you, and you look up the energetics of your... Yeah. I'm no chiropractor, but C2 or L4 or whatever, they all have an energetic component to it. So you can look across at the line and go, okay, this is what this represents. This is what this represents. So if you're having something that's misaligned, there's an energetic factor generally. And emotion code and body code can realign just energetically.
Well, so Jamie does the muscle activation technique. I'm not a huge chiropractor fan. I don't like the cracking of my bones. There's something about that I just can't quite get over. I've tried. Because here's the deal. My philosophy, I think everyone knows this. I've said it many times on this pod. You don't know what you don't know. And so I'm very open to listening and learning, sort of trying new things.
Right.
If it works, great. If it doesn't. But you do have to be open to receive, right?
100%. 100%.
And you can think that you're open and still not be open. You have to get rid of that judgment. And I think for me, sort of recognizing that I had no control. Like, we think we have control, and I'm a control freak. Like, I like to run the meeting, and I like to I want to make all the decisions with clients. So, like, I want to be right there. If somebody else is working on a project, I'm going to pop my head in, and it's not the best behavior, but I always think I can help. But when it comes to your health and when it comes to the universe, we truly don't have control.
No.
Right? And the minute you recognize that you don't have control, you can't control everything. People are going to come and go in your life. Loved ones are going to come and pass. Shit's going to happen. Great things are going to happen. Shit happens to really good people.
It does, yeah.
It is what it is. And if you can open your heart to learning and accepting different ways of healing, that I think has been, for me, that game changer. When I got diagnosed with celiac, I was like, what in the actual hell?
Yeah.
I have an autoimmune disease. What the hell does that mean?
Right.
I have no idea what that means. And then I kind of went down the path and started collecting all my healers.
Right.
Somebody said to me kind of in a passive-aggressive way not too long ago, she was like, you spend a lot of money on self-care. And I'm like, you know what? First of all, it's none of your business. But second of all, I will either spend a lot of money and time here, or I'm going to spend a lot of money and time when disease catches up with me later.
Absolutely.
And I would much rather do it here and work on myself and learn in my 40s than be very, very sick in a couple of decades.
Oh, absolutely. It's kind of the well, why are you buying organic versus non-organic? It's like, we are what we put in our bodies. We are what we put in our souls. Everything around us affects us. And I think, mainstream doesn't want to promote these lovely practices because it's cheap.
Well, and it's a different, again, I think fear comes into play.
Oh, for sure.
Right? Like a lot of, I told you the story about my aunt. I love my little 80-something-year-old aunt who was a traditional, registered nurse the majority of her life, and now gets Reiki every week and gets, what's the other thing she gets? The cranial.
Oh, the cranial sacral therapy, which is amazing.
I do want to try that at some point.
I've got a great one for you.
Got a person. Okay. But she does yoga 5 days a week, and she meditates every single day. And so it's funny because she's moved from Western traditional medicine all the way over here. And there's no reason that you can't cohabitate, right?
Absolutely. And that's what I love about Dr. Nelson. Like, when you kind of do a deep dive, or if anybody on here wants to do a deep dive in his books.
He has a YouTube channel, too.
Yeah, he's amazing. Yeah, I mean, he's brilliant. I love listening to him. He knows his stuff. He says, hey, try this.
Yeah.
And if you need to seek a medical professional, or if this is too far gone, absolutely. I mean, he is a doctor who's like, I understand Western medicine, but I also understand that we've done a disservice to make it too easy, and you take, my father had Parkinson's. He took one medicine to keep him walking, which he could barely walk, but it rotted his teeth. We take one thing for the other, right?
How many times do you see the commercial on TV? Oh! Take this for this, but here are all your side effects.
You might die.
You might shit yourself. You might go blind. You might have no sex drive. Okay.
Let me just swallow that now.
Yeah.
It's... and,
Can I have, refills of that, please? What the fuck?
For real. It's... and that's where we have to use common sense.
I agree.
We can control what we can control.
Truth.
And, finding... And I always think these modalities find you at the perfect time.
I would agree.
I
couldn't handle this in my 20s or 30s.
No.
When you referenced that 34, I was like, oh my God, I was a completely different person then.
Completely. And it's funny, being an esthetician for so many years, I actually knew massage therapists that were doing Reiki.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay. But I never, felt the need to ask about it. I never felt, called to learn more about it because I didn't really think it was my wheelhouse until the dark fell over my world. And I'm like, anybody got anything? And I'm like, Bueller. I'm feeling like I'm in left field. And could you send me something? And literally I was on a plane with a girl I had just met on a business trip, and she's like, I don't even know what to tell you. Just go.
Just go do it.
And I listened, and I went, and it has changed my life and countless others in my life.
Yeah, I wouldn't have you if you hadn't just gone.
No. It's one appointment changed my whole life.
Yeah. When we put the podcast up, we'll put all the things so people can get in touch with you. Shannon's going to have
resources,
a website here soon, and you can always get her on the good old gram and all that. I don't know what the kids are calling that. Is it the IG?
Yes, I think
it's the gram?
I think it's the gram these days. Whatever. I'm like, gosh, I feel like the gram.
So I did want to, because you've done Reiki on Sash, and you've done emotion.
Yes.
So she's done it on my. If you guys don't know who Sasha is, she is my dog. She doesn't think she's a dog. She thinks she's a princess.
She is a princess.
She is a princess. She's at daycare today in the pool while we're here recording the podcast. But I know, right? I want Sasha's life.
I want to be her.
But she's had some little health things. She's had a little toenail thing going on, and she had injured her little leg around Christmas because she's wild, and so she was not enjoying she had to be crate rested for a while, and she was really pissed off at the world. And so Shannon was like, well, let me just try. And I will tell you, I was like, okay, it's not going to hurt anything, but leave it to my dog to not respond, right? I'll let you tell the story. I was silenced. I couldn't believe.
It was crazy. So in my training, we learned animals are healers for us, really. They are the most amazing things on the planet. So when I learned you can do Reiki on anything, you can Reiki your coffee, you can Reiki your food, you can Reiki your animals, truly anything is, your food is very energetic. So I have a ton of people, I wish I was more diligent about it, but you can literally Reiki your wine before you drink it, to make it for your highest good, right? It's like energetic praying is what I call it. You're really investing intention in anything that you do. Well, dogs or animals in general, dogs I just feel like are a little bit more lovey-feely than cats sometimes. Cats actually have a different energetic, which I won't go into that today. But they absorb energy. Yeah. So if you've got a fat cat at home, you might need to call me because they're absorbing the energy of your house. No joke. Look it up.
That's hysterical.
It's seriously, they actually say to have more than one cat because it will divide the energy in a household. So there's fat cats out there. You might want to cleanse your house a little bit.
Look back at the Egyptians and stuff.
Yes.
Like, they were very sacred.
They are. Cats. They're not my jam to have at my house.
Not either.
But
they're cool, but
they
not
actually have a lot of great components to them. They're just higher energetic beings. Dogs are here to just unconditionally love us. So when I would do Reiki on my animals, they're like, wait a minute, wait, my owner should not be working on me because I'm loving on them. Yeah. So they get kind of squeamish at first, and then they're like, oh, but this kind of feels really good. And if you're willing, I guess I'll just go ahead and so it takes them a minute to adjust. So I had been over here maybe once, twice with Sash, like very small bits of time, possibly. Very quick. And then I came over, and Allison and I were kind of hanging on the couch, and
we were working on
my stuff because she's amazing. And I said, "Okay, Sash, she's coming over," and so she kind of was like, "What's going on?" And then all of a sudden, what did she do? She retreated. She hung out with us, and she was very calm because we were worried she was going to be like kind of all over us. Yeah. Nope. She laid down, and then all of a sudden, she was like, "All right, you guys continue your meeting," and she curled up on the other side of the couch. And just was chill. I think she even fell asleep.
She looked stoned.
She did.
She looked like she did. She slept the entire time.
Yes.
She does not do that. Anybody comes over, Sasha's all up in your business. She's got to be center of attention. We have to sit where she can get to. Like you calmed her.
Amazing.
Well, and she'd not been to daycare for weeks.
Right.
So she had some pent up energy. But while you touched her little heart and you gave her the messages, she kind of gave you this side eye.
She did.
And then she relaxed a little bit. Yeah. But you also did an emotion code on her.
Yes.
And you pulled like she was peeved.
Oh, yeah.
And she was...
I mean, and you know, what's interesting is animals, we have zero idea what kind of trauma line they've come from.
True.
So I remember with her emotion code, there was something like at her 1-year-old self, and I think you had told me the story of when you got her and everything, and so it's interesting because we don't look to them as having this abused life. I mean, you know, we know dogs are in shelters or whatnot, but a next door neighbor of mine got a rescue dog, and it was just batshit crazy. Yeah. And I remember when I was doing my case studies and I was getting certified in this, I used her dog as an example, and she's like, I don't know what you did to the dog, but he's completely like different. A totally different person, you know, or not person, but animal. And I'm like,
well, they kind of are people.
Hallelujah. I know. I consider them humans. But I mean, truly, it's very interesting.
Sash had, I got her when she was 6 months. So for everybody who doesn't know the story, I adopted Sashi when she was 6 months old. She, I'm telling you, I'm pretty sure that dog is my soulmate. One of them. I know you can have many soulmates. She's one of them. She is the best. Like, she leads with love. We go on our walks and people are like, hey, they know Sash. They don't even know my name. And so they don't know my name. They know my dog. So she... At 6 months, she was abandoned. So a family of 4 who already had 2 dogs adopted her. And they had just had a new baby, I think. And so a new baby and a new puppy is never... I don't know why people do that. So they turned her into the rescue. And it was not like a shelter where she was in like with hundreds of other dogs. It was just a foster-only shelter. So she had a foster mom, but that foster mom did have several other doggies. So what you pulled out of her was abandonment.
Oh, yes.
Some sorrow. And then the peeved was actually later, which I'm guessing, I think I told you, I think she was probably pissed off. I kicked her out of the bedroom when I was getting some sex. Because she normally
she's like, hello.
Get booted from the bed, and she got booted during that time. And I'm like, that's probably what pissed her off. And so that's cleared now.
Totally, yeah. And she's good now. She's good again.
She's solid. But I was like, it just lined up. I mean, it was just
It's crazy. Yeah. It's crazy. And it's funny to do it for animals because I do pull frequency cards for them as well. So it's a little harder because I remember you're like, I have no idea why this makes sense for her at all. And I'm like, but it doesn't make sense to us because we're not in their little bodies.
It's true.
You know, so.
It's true.
And even if the statement doesn't resonate, there is something being held vibrationally for them from something from Earth here, you know. But it's fascinating. I mean, it is just...
Yeah. Well, and I said to you today, she has a little spot on her hip, and I was like, you got to do some emotion. You know, so you got Sashi on your list to do some energy work with. But,
yes.
Well, anyway, this has been really fun.
I know, this is so fun.
I always, again, we'll put all the things up, and when we do when we post it, we can put your link and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah, that's great. Yep.
So anybody who wants to get in contact with Shannon can. I highly, highly recommend her. She is worth your time. She's worth the investment in yourself. What was I going to say? Oh, I'll keep people wondering on that. Because Stephanie mentioned it on Saturday, and then the 34. I'll tell you when we're finished.
Oh, yes.
I'll tell you what that is. Okay, so I always end these pods with, I'm going to make Shannon play. It's a confession or obsession, so you guys should be, like, used to it now. So I'm going to ask her, you can choose one.
Okay.
And then you have to share why it's a confession, or, or why you're obsessed with something.
Okay, I'm going to go with obsessed.
Okay. You're going to steal my thunder on this? What are you obsessed with?
Gosh. Okay. I'm like, what am I obsessed with? Well, I'll just actually go with my dogs because I think this is just really funny.
Yeah.
So we are a big boxer family. We love boxers. And since probably Rocky came out, I have been obsessed with Sylvester Stallone. So
that's so funny. Yeah, and Nick Lachey.
So they're both equal obsessions. Totally different times in my life. But yeah, so we started getting our boxers. And I'm like, okay, we got to think of boxer names. And so we've had Rocco. We've had Sly for Sylvester Stallone, And we just lost our precious Sly. So that's been devastating to our family. But we have 2 dogs that haven't even been born yet, but we are like getting them at some point soon. And yes, their names are going to be Rocky and Rambo. And then I told my husband, I said, after this, we can be done with the Sylvester Stallone things. And he's like, thank God.
Rocky and Rambo. That's fabulous. Oh my God. Do you get them in the summer?
Yeah, well, actually we were, but the litter only had girls. So now we have to wait. So a new litter will be born in June, and then we're going to get 2 different litters because I didn't know there was a litter syndrome thing. So they bond if they're siblings too much, so then they won't listen to you. Oh. I'm not sure if I want to take that risk. So
probably not.
I think we're going to wait till the fall to get the next one, and then we'll be complete.
I only have 1 dog, and she doesn't listen to me. So
girl, and then I've got 2 kids and a husband. None of them listen to me.
Yeah, I work for Sosh.
Super fun. So yeah, that's my obsession.
Oh, I'm so excited.
No one understands why, but I do. I love it.
That's okay. That's hysterical. I know how much you were obsessed with Sly. Oh my God. And Nick Lachey. For whatever.
I have major issues. I think I'm over him now.
Well, do you watch that crazy Love is Blind crap?
I haven't.
I can't watch that.
No, I can't.
Jamie's all into that.
I just liked him with Jessica, and once they kind of dissolved, I was like...
I'm happy he found love with Vanessa.
Me too.
Yeah,
me too.
He's just not my favorite guy anymore.
No. Yeah. And did you hear that he just got summons to go to anger management and AA because he had a thing with he kind of went a little nutso on a paparazzi chick. So
I probably would too. Though if those people are all
I would too. I mean, I may punch you in the face.
All right, so obsession. Yeah, I probably would too. Somebody would need bail money if I was that famous. If I was Bradley Cooper famous,
right?
What obsession or confession? I'm going to do obsession, and I already sort of told you what it was. I cheated, but I am obsessed. If you guys have not watched it, get on board. You have to go to Apple TV and watch Shrinking. I love Brett Goldstein, who plays Roy Kent in Ted Lasso.
Me too.
I think he's one of the most brilliant writers. I would love to hear him do stand-up. I think he's obviously great at Roy Kent. Mm-hmm. But I think that show is probably one of the best. I think it's better than Ted Lasso. I'm going to say that. And here's why. I think it is around the therapy piece. You have therapists who have real shit going on, and there's no sugarcoating it. There's no Jason Sudeikis sort of love. I mean, that first season, he was a little over the top. There's none of that. Mm-hmm. No. Right? This is a very real script with real fucking problems and people going through some grief, but are also trying to realize that life goes on and you can still grieve. And Harrison Ford's character, I can't pick a favorite character. I think he nailed that part. I think he deserves every freaking award he can get for that part. I love the season finale where he barges in to the office. He's like,
so good.
Oh my God. And I love that he had it's just brilliant.
Along with the cliff.
Oh,
That's one of my favorites too.
well,
I won't let it go if anybody on here hasn't watched. But
because our local girl Heidi from SNL is in it. Yeah, and we love Heidi because she's from Kansas City and she loves Casey. She's gonna be back for Big Slick.
That's amazing. That? We need to go to that, by the way.
Yeah, we'll talk about that because I kind of wanted to do that too. And then the woman therapist. Who like she goes to her ex-husband's art show.
Yes.
And he's got this big painting and he's trying to tell everybody that this painting is about this new girlfriend and she's like, no, it's fucking about me. That's my fucking mole. That's my and then love it. I mean like her they have to literally drag her out. And it's not a spoiler, like that whole scene, we've all been there. We've all been like, no motherfucker, I have been with you through thick and thin. You were having this fucking art show because of my support. You have the audacity to tell everybody you didn't paint me. Hell no.
And I'm pretty sure that I could see you and I being that girl. Like, excuse me, I gave you all these years. And
and you'd drag me out and I would drag you. Like,
totally.
It was brilliant. And I think they just fucking nailed it. So if there's anybody on the planet who's listening to this podcast who has not watched Shrinking,
I agree.
It's worth the whatever Apple charges for the month to watch the damn thing.
I agree. I don't even know when the second season starts, but it needs to start soon.
I think that, they were supposed to be writing it, but now you got the writer's strike, and I don't know if that affected Apple or not, but I know Brett Goldstein's been out, like, picketing, so, I know.
Love it. I can't wait for it to come back. I would agree, though. I mean, we've been watching Ted Lasso as well, and as much as I love that show too, I think both my husband and I would say that we love Shrinking.
It's different.
Yes,
it's
and
different.
It touches on every emotion that you can possibly think of.
I can't think of another show that's even close to it.
No, me neither.
I mean, it's just Ted Lasso's in its own arena.
Mm-hmm. I would agree.
Yeah,
I would agree. No, it's phenomenal. That's a good obsession.
Like it
would only be better if Sliced Alone came on.
Well, that's right. Well, the neighbor's the best.
I know. Jefferson and the lady.
She's like fucking Liz.
Totally.
Is she giving her crystals?
So amazing.
Liz is amazing.
So that might be my calling in life later is come over and get your tumbled rocks.
And that's like all of her kids have left and she has like a favorite kid. Like, I mean, that could be you. That could totally be you. In the driveway, in the front yard, I went on a hike and found these crystals. And you only get one if you're
a good friend.
If you're anointed into my
exactly. And I'm not going to give any away unless I like you.
No, and you got to tell
You'll
me
get one.
The good gossip, right? Yes. She withholds it. I love it. Now I am doing the spoiler section, but you'll still watch it.
It's so good.
All right. Well,
good.
We kind of had tossed the idea around. I think, without giving too much away, I think you're going to make an appearance in the last episode of this season. I think we're going to do this, but a little different with somebody else. So
I love it.
We'll leave that little teaser hanging out there.
Bring me back anytime.
I love it. Thank you, my love. Thank you
for being
welcome.
Here. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for healing
me.
So fun. All right.